Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news. Alright, folks, today we're diving deep into what could be a game changer for the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. If you've been paying attention to the NFL lately, especially the AFC North, you know things are heating up, and the Steelers are right in the middle of this whirlwind of activity. The latest whispers, rumors, and reports are pointing to some intriguing moves that could define their upcoming season, and quite possibly, their chances of making another Super Bowl run. And let's be honest, Steelers fans, we love a good offseason drama, especially when it involves potential upgrades that could push our team back to the top of the league. Now, I want to start by setting the scene here. The Steelers, as many of you know, have been a team with a storied history, a franchise that's built on toughness, resilience, and a culture that emphasizes defense and a solid running game. But in recent seasons, especially with the departure of some key veterans and the rise of new stars, there's been a noticeable shift. The offense, while still capable, has sometimes struggled with consistency, particularly in the passing game. And that's where this buzz about adding a certain wide receiver really starts to make sense. One of the most talked about names in this rumor mill is Allen Lazard, the wide receiver who has been a favorite of Aaron Rodgers during their time together in Green Bay. And believe me, Steelers fans, this isn't just idle chatter. The idea of Lazard ending up in Pittsburgh feels almost like a foregone conclusion at this point, and there are good reasons for that. The Steelers, as I mentioned, are a bit light on their receiver depth chart, especially when it comes to reliable secondary options after the big three: Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Pat Freiermuth. Sure, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, and Robert Woods are all talented, but they're still trying to prove themselves as consistent options. And with a future Hall of Famer like Aaron Rodgers leading the Jets, Lazard's potential move to Pittsburgh could be a strategic move for both sides. Now, let's break down why this makes so much sense. First off, Lazard is familiar with Rodgers' style. They've played together in Green Bay for several seasons, building that chemistry that's so crucial in the NFL. Rodgers trusts Lazard in high-pressure situations, and Lazard has shown he can be a reliable target in clutch moments. For the Steelers, bringing in a guy like Lazard could instantly upgrade their passing attack, giving Kenny Pickett a big-bodied receiver who can win contested catches and provide that veteran presence in the locker room. And frankly, Pittsburgh needs that kind of leadership and reliability out wide, especially as they continue to develop their young quarterback. The proposed trade is reportedly a fifth-round pick heading to the Jets for Lazard. Now, some might say that's a modest price for a player with Lazard's experience and familiarity with Rodgers. But it's not just about the cost, it's about the fit. Pittsburgh's management and coaching staff have been very strategic about adding pieces that fit their system, and Lazard's skill set aligns well with what they're trying to build. Plus, the Jets, having acquired Rodgers themselves, are in a bit of a rebuilding phase, and they're likely to be open to moving Lazard if it means gaining some draft capital, especially in the middle rounds where they can still find some depth and potential. Let's pause here for a moment. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now, what does this mean for the Steelers? Well, first, it signals that they're serious about contending this year. They understand that, with the right pieces, they can accelerate their offensive productivity and give Kenny Pickett more weapons to work with. And let's not forget, this isn't just about the here and now, it's about setting up for sustained success. Lazard's presence could also mean that Pittsburgh is looking to ease the pressure on their young receiver core and veteran leaders alike, creating a more balanced attack that keeps defenses guessing. And for Aaron Rodgers, having Lazard in Pittsburgh would be a huge boost. The connection they built in Green Bay is well documented, and Rodgers' ability to elevate a receiver's game has always been one of his strengths. Lazard isn't a burner by any means, but he's a savvy route runner with good hands, a guy who can make tough catches and be a red zone threat. Rodgers' ability to throw precise passes, especially in tight windows, could turn Lazard into a more frequent target, which only benefits the Steelers' offensive scheme. But let's also look at some of the other elements that make this potential move so exciting. Pittsburgh's offensive line has improved markedly, and with that stability, Kenny Pickett has more confidence to push the ball downfield. The addition of Lazard could stretch defenses and open up more running lanes, which is crucial for the Steelers' identity. Their running game, led by Najee Harris, remains a core part of their strategy, but a more dynamic passing attack makes everything work better. It's a classic case of complementing strengths and maximizing your offensive versatility. Of course, we need to keep an eye on the broader AFC North picture. The division has become increasingly competitive, with teams like the Bengals, Ravens, and Browns all making bold moves in the offseason. Cincinnati, for example, is bringing back Joe Burrow with a healthy squad and a potent passing attack led by Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Baltimore has retooled their defense and added Lamar Jackson's new weapons, aiming to reclaim their spot atop the division. Cleveland, despite some struggles, still has a formidable defense and a quarterback in Deshaun Watson who can turn the tide on any given Sunday. So, for the Steelers, making smart moves like acquiring Lazard could be exactly what they need to stay competitive and even leapfrog some of these division rivals. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture here. Pittsburgh's front office has been pretty aggressive in recent years, not just in the draft but also in free agency and trades. They understand that to compete with the AFC's elite, they need to make bold moves. The potential addition of Lazard fits perfectly into that mold, adding a veteran presence, a trusted target for Rodgers, and a player who can immediately contribute to the team's success. And it's not just about this season. It's about building a roster that can sustain success over multiple years, keeping the window open for another Super Bowl push. Looking back at the history of the Steelers, they've always been a team that values smart, strategic moves. Whether it's the drafting of key players like T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, or Najee Harris, or the signing of seasoned veterans to fill gaps, their approach has always been about building a cohesive, tough team. The Lazard rumor fits this philosophy perfectly. It's about adding the right piece at the right time, and if this deal goes through, it could be one of those moves that silently shifts the entire landscape of the AFC North. Now, let's not forget about Kenny Pickett. The young quarterback has shown flashes of brilliance in his rookie season and last year, but consistency is still the key. Adding a veteran receiver like Lazard could accelerate his development, giving him a reliable target who can make plays when it counts most. It's about creating that environment where Pickett can thrive, and Lazard's experience and leadership could be exactly what's needed to help him take that next step. And for the fans, this kind of move energizes the entire fan base. We're talking about a team that's hungry, that's ambitious, and that clearly wants to be in the mix for the Super Bowl once again. The Steelers have always been a franchise that prides itself on resilience and a never-give-up attitude. With Lazard potentially coming on board, they're sending a message. We're here to contend, and we're willing to make bold moves to get there. Of course, it's important to keep perspective. These kinds of rumors and trade talks are part of the NFL's offseason dance. Nothing is set in stone until it's officially announced, but the signs are pointing in a very clear direction. Pittsburgh's management is clearly looking to reinforce their offense, and Lazard fits that bill perfectly. It's a move that could change the dynamic of their season, especially if he can replicate the chemistry he had with Rodgers in Green Bay. So, Steelers fans, what do you think about this potential move? Are you excited about Lazard coming to Pittsburgh? Do you believe he can help turn the offense into a more explosive unit? Or do you think the team should focus on other areas, like strengthening their defense or drafting young talent? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion really matters. This is what makes our community strong, sharing perspectives and getting hyped for the upcoming season. And as we wrap up, I want to remind you that I'll be back very soon with more updates, analysis, and all the latest news about your favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're in an exciting time right now, with so many moving parts and potential breakthroughs on the horizon. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep that Steelers spirit alive and thriving. Remember, this franchise has a rich history of overcoming adversity, and with moves like potentially bringing Lazard into the fold, they're showing that they're still very much in the fight, aiming for that Lombardi trophy once again. So keep your eyes peeled, stay fired up, and let's get ready for what promises to be an electrifying season. Thanks for riding with me through this deep dive into Steelers news, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay loyal, stay loud, and as always, Steelers Nation, let's go out there and make some noise.